Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
Happy Thursday, everyone. Today is the final day before I head out for my vacation, at least from the show. We do still have one episode before my vacation of Virginia Reloaded on Saturday night at 10 p.m. And then I will be back next weekend to do the show. So we're not going to miss any Virginia Reloaded. But next week, the whole entire week, no Fireside Chats. I need a break. I've been working 5 years and written articles every freaking week for 5 years, multiple articles a week. Lowest I've got is 3. Max I got is 12 articles in 1 week. And I've been doing that for 5 years and haven't taken a break yet. So I am taking a break next week, just to let you guys know that I won't be on. I'll be running some clips on my other channel, but as for me, I will be in sunny Florida with my kids. Hi, Space Texan. Hi, Gorillas and Guns. Chris Shoemake, Flying Rich, who looks really familiar. Shooting Gallery, New England. We are live, and we are brought to you by Tusk. Tusk is the only gun-friendly cryptocurrency on the market with 3-second processing times and low transaction fees. It is perfect for your gun business.
Proudly sponsored by TUSC, the only cryptocurrency designed with the firearms market in mind, with 3-second processing times. It's the fastest cryptocurrency on the planet. With lower transaction fees than traditional credit cards. It's perfect for your e-commerce needs. For gun guys, by gun guys. Visit TUSC.network for more information and join the digital revolution.
I love those guys over there at Tusk. And in addition to Tusk, we are also brought to you by Black Swan Tactical, where you can get all your gears, really cool t-shirts, and even the Gorilla and Guns shoe line. And also we have Sandhill Shooters line and my line and everyone else's line of stuff. We got to get a Flying Rich line up there. Flying Rich, talk to me and we will work that out.
Black Swan Tactical, your number one source for 2A streetwear. With shirts, mugs, hats, patches, flags, and more. There's always something to help you rep the 2A community. All proceeds go back into our projects. Viewers and listeners can take an additional 10% off with code CRUMPY. Unapologetically pro-gun, pro-liberty, and pro-freedom gear for the front lines of the culture war.
And remember, you can use code CRUMPY for 10% off. And finally, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/John Crump. Now, with 5 minutes gone, let's bring on the guest of the hour. He is a guy that flies an airplane. When I use that term loosely because he usually ends up crashing the airplane. If I crashed an airplane, it'd be like one time. I'd be like, all right, I'm never flying again. But this guy doesn't give up. He crashes them over and over and over again. And his name is Flying Rich, the Florida man.
It's not the same plane. And the second crash I got, I just scratched this finger right here.
If you crash a plane, you're probably not going to fly the same plane.
The second one I'm going to fix and fly again.
Okay, the guy that crashes a lot, Florida man. He tried to kidnap me with his van full of ammunition
and candy.
Candy. I got away though. So
let's see.
We're gonna get into your plane in a minute, but there is something out there called the Conversation Group.
Is that like The View, but for straight people?
It is a couple of pro-gun organizations, pro-gun, and no FOAC's not one of them. So if you think I'm going to bash FOAC again, I'm not going to bash FOAC today. I'm going to bash other groups today, but I'm not going to even name them. because they know who they are, and I am pitting this out to them. The conversation group is a couple pro-gun groups, and also Bombs Demand Action. I will name the antis. Everytown, Brady, and Giffords. And the point of the group is to find common ground. Guess who wasn't invited to this group?
GOA.
GOA, SAF.
Yeah.
Well, I know GOA, SF. I'm not sure about FBC or NRA. I know they're not in it, but I don't even think NRA would join this crazy group. So these couple of gun organizations are pushing, and I don't think HR 8 is going to pass. I think it's basically dead. But there is another bill coming right behind it, and I'm pretty sure it came out of this group. So,
well, is Rob Pincus running for like the leader of this group? Is that what's going on? They need to pay a leader, like, chairman of the board, a lot of money.
I'm not going to name. I'm not going to.
Oh, did I name names? Oh, jeez.
I'm not going to name names of this. I'm going to give them the. I'm letting them know that I'm coming after them, and I'm going to come after them with a sledgehammer. I'm going to blow it up.
But
names will be named, but when I swing, I'm going to swing for a knockout.
Do you know what ticks me off about stuff? All right, so I'm on an acre and a quarter in Florida here, and I can set up a range on my property as long as the rounds don't leave my property. So 2 rules in Florida for a range. 1, you have more than an acre. 2, the rounds don't leave your property. You know what I want? I don't want to piss off my neighbors. I want a silencer. Why does a silencer have to cost me $200? And I have to wait some indeterminate amount of time. My name isn't John Crump, so I don't have to wait quite as long as you. But this is crazy when everybody says, oh, well, Europe does this. Well, you know what Europe does? Europe lets you walk into the store and walk out with a silencer, just like when you buy a rifle, because in Europe, it's considered rude not to use a silencer when you hunt.
Yeah, check this out. Space Texan have 15 acres.
15 acres or 15 silencers? 11 acres. Oh, in Texas, you need 11 acres? Jesus.
Yeah. Texas isn't as gun friendly as people think it is.
Wow. Well, at least Texas allows you open carry. Florida does not.
Yeah, we're allowed to open carry in Virginia.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Texas, and Texas was no masking except at the damn airport. So that was kind of nice. Although when I was hauling... shooting with the bearded black cowboy in Chris Ann Hall.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I'm hauling my, AR rifle case and stuff like that around the airport, and I can't breathe, and I'm dragging 200 pounds of gear with me. You know what's cool about flying with firearms is they can't overweight you or oversize you. It's like, oh yeah, I'll take something out. Where do you want me to carry this?
Let me just stick it in my carry-on.
It's like, yeah, no problem. I got this. Now, so different airlines have different requirements on that. Southwest is 11 pounds, and it's 11 pounds per person, not per person per bag. You're allowed 2 checked bags, but only 11 pounds of ammo per person. So check your airlines as to how much ammo you can have with you.
Oh, did you have more than that, or what?
Well, the interesting, last couple of times I've flown, they haven't weighed the ammo. They haven't even, Southwest at West Palm Beach, there was some, nice older lady, and she checked all of my damn firearms. I was shocked. She even weighed my ammo individually, and I had a little too much ammo with me, and I had to, my wife was waiting at the cell phone waiting area, and because I didn't weigh it with a precision scale. And I'm like, all right, I'll call my wife and have her come back and pick up some ammo. But I had to give her a couple of boxes of ammo because I was slightly over 11 pounds.
That's not hard to get overweight with that.
Well, like with AK ammo, that's pretty easy. That's only a few boxes.
Yeah.
AR ammo,
when were you in Texas?
Like 3 or 4 weekends ago.
Well,
just did a long weekend.
Why didn't you fly yourself?
Because my plane is in Janes Field in let's see, Minnesota.
Why is it there?
Because I was working at the Mayo Clinic at the time I crashed the plane, and I
Oh.
trucked it up there to work on it, and it's been there since because it's a cheap hangar, and that's why I fly private. Girls and guns is saying, that's the joke I always say is, flying private, at least you can carry a full-size shaving cream and a loaded firearm on you.
Yeah.
And depending on what state you land in. And my luck, I'd probably land in the wrong state.
Get locked up.
So actually, my buddy's in Michigan, and he said he's got space at his airport. And so if everything goes right, because right now I'm working remote, so it doesn't matter where remote I work, as long as I can work. So my plan is if I sell the house in New York and there's still time left in the summer before hell freezes over in Michigan, I'll move my plane to his airport, stay at his place, put the plane back together, and then fly home.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Now I'll stop by your place.
Yeah, you should. And I don't know. Just don't get
Actually,
too close.
I was flying in New York just before I kidnapped you.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me. You did a flight. Tell us about that.
So I flew from Islip MacArthur over to Bridgeport, and my instructor picked up a student, and he did his long night cross country in the plane. So we returned back to Bridgeport, and then I flew back to Islip. It's been 6 years since I've flown any plane, and I guess it's 6 years since I've flown that plane specifically, which was a Cessna 172. And I took off, and I didn't have my reading glasses on, and the stock instrumentation in a Cessna 172 is incredibly poor. The lighting on the gauges, all of that, it's just awful. It's like 1950s car type gauges. And like the face isn't translucent and the light doesn't come through them. It's like the light bleeds over the edge. It's a really bad gauge. Well, my eyes got worse. I could barely read the frickin' gauges. So especially like the tachometer, which is like down below the yoke, you kind of gotta look around to see it. So
yeah.
Anyhow, night flight, first flight in 6 years with eyes that were getting worse. I feel as though I still have the skill set. I'm a 1,000-hour instrument rated pilot, but like the communications on the radio, I really got to listen to like live ATC to get back on that again.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, did you see my interview with Pincus?
Oh yeah. I was commenting on that because you did a replay.
Yeah.
You pre-recorded it and then you did like a live premiere, right?
Yeah. What do you think?
I kind of want to ask you about that also. I think I read what he wrote, and I think I'm a smart guy, and I think I know pretty big words, but I wouldn't use that many big words in an encyclopedia, let alone a 2-page document. He had zero facts in anything he said. He said homicides are on the rise. It's like, oh, now if you talk numerical homicides like 2019 versus 2020, or a 3-year rolling average, yes, numerically homicides rose, but statistically per capita they went down, and gun sales went up exponentially, and homicides flatlined. So he didn't quote any numerical statistic whatsoever. He just said, we all consider this. We all know certain people shouldn't have guns. And when I asked him about that during your show, he's like, well, you don't think drunk people should have guns? I'm like, who's drunk all the time? I may have been drunk once in my life. That doesn't mean I should be, precluded from having guns. So that was really weasel words. That was the dumbest argument that you could make for when you yourself said, we all know certain people shouldn't have guns. We all can agree on certain people shouldn't have guns. And when you say, well, drunk people shouldn't have guns, I have a lot less respect for the man. I've heard questionable things about him in the past that he may not be the 2A guy we think he is. And it just sounds to me like this was an audition for a group that was going to work together with both sides to determine what our rights would be.
Yeah, there is a group like that out there, like I said earlier, that I want known, that I know who you are, that you're a member of.
That's nuts. That's just crazy.
And I plan on going after that group.
And I always love your articles because you always have the inside dirt. You have a vast network.
Yeah, I have a superpower, and it's knowing people.
Oh, I thought it was name dropping about the people you know. It's not name dropping about.
I don't name drop as many people. You know, some of the people I know behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing. I'm always impressed with what you come up with and the information.
Well, that's how I come up with it. People talk to me. Most of my information comes from people who aren't like well known, but they're just in the right place. ATF agents and whatnot, and stuff like that. Okay, Space Tech wants to know how expensive is a maintenance on a plane.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. It's funny. I had this conversation with Patrick, Babyface P, over the weekend. So a small plane. Let's just take a Cessna 172. A brand new Cessna 172 could cost up to 200 grand. It might even be more. A 50-year-old Cessna 172 could be 20 grand, or maybe a 30-year-old Cessna could be 20 grand. And you got to realize there's three major components on an aircraft, just like a boat. There's the hull, the fuselage, there's the power plant, and then there's the instrumentation, the avionics. So you could have an engine. So typically they say a Lycoming engine is good for 2,000 hours before overhaul. Most of them never get there. You're overhauling the engine well before 2,000 hours. But you might find a great airframe and 1980s or 1970s instruments and an engine that's nearly run out and be able to buy a plane for 20 or 30 grand. A cheap plane isn't necessarily a bargain. So always beware of that. And you're probably better off not spending a small amount of money. So the last plane I had was 40 grand, and that was a home built. That was a Cozy 3. It had an old radio, so I had old avionics. The engine was in good condition, and I upgraded the instrument panel. And experimental aircraft avionics are super cheap. So if you want to put an EFIS in the plane, it's only a few $1,000s. I got a top-of-the-line Navcom put in because it's always good to be able to talk and hear and navigate. Let's see, what else did I install? Installed an autopilot and 2 small EFIS systems. So I did some upgrades. Oh, and the electric nose lift. The manual nose lift is a real pain in the ass. So I put in an electric nose lift.
What the hell is that?
All right, so if anybody saw the thumbnail, the nose gear retracts on that plane and you park it down on its nose. So if you Google, I'll put it in the chat, 144 TJ. So if you Google November 144 TJ, you'll see pictures of my plane. And you may see one with it parked. That was at Rough River. Actually, what site is that? Flightaware.com has that picture posted. And so it's at Rough River.
Copyrighted it. So I
Wait, it's my picture. I gave it to them. I took that picture.
Well, they copyrighted it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So I've for a long time had bad back pain, and the way you get into that plane is you lift it in the worst possible way by bending over and using your back, pulling up on the canard, and then you reach into the cockpit and crank the nose gear down. With the nose lift, you can load the plane fully up, start the engine, whole shoot match, then hit the button and the nose gear extends.
Interesting.
So I would not get one of those planes without a nose lift.
So it's Flight Aware is the one that you gave to him, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up right here. Yeah, they put a big watermark, and they can search their
Yeah.
watermarks on
Yeah,
there.
that's my picture. I took that picture. That's my picture, my plane, and my wife.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, I guess
Back when she would ride in the plane with me.
she won't run. Oh, I wonder why she won't run in the plane with you. Maybe because you crash it.
Yes,
There
I
you go.
crashed that one. Oh wow, there's a watermark across the whole. I thought it was just in the right corner.
No. They put it across the whole thing.
Yeah.
And what they can do is they can search for thumbnails.
Oh, okay. So that plane has a 320 cubic inch like coaming, carbureted, and has 4 cylinders. So they're coffee can size cylinders. And basically, max RPM is 2,700 RPM. It develops 150 horsepower. And I'll cruise along at like 8,000 feet at about 150 knots over the ground. So
Space Texan says that he's not going to do experimental aircraft.
no, well, so yeah, you could get a Cessna. So here's the thing. Here's the problem with something like a Cessna 172 is you're flying slightly over 100 miles per hour at like max speed. For personal airplanes to be reasonable, you really need to fly close to 200 miles an hour. Just about when you're talking about convenience sake. Now, a slower plane is fine. Say if you're on Long Island, you want to go to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket or something like that, or Block Island. That's fine because the only way you'd get there is, if you have a boat or, you drive 16 hours and take a ferry. So, but if you want to get somewhere, like I used to work in Monroe, Louisiana, and I'd fly back home, sometimes just for a long weekend or something like that. It would actually take me longer to fly commercial because of the drive time to the airports, TSA waiting. The flight was, a fraction of the time, a half or a third of the time. But with all of the driving I would have to do, just the driving alone was longer than the 5-hour flight. So I would pack the plane. I'd pre-flight the plane the night before, like Friday night. Saturday morning, I'd get up before dawn, get out to the airport, open the hangar door, drive my truck in next to the airplane, throw my stuff in the plane, push the plane out, close the hangar door, leave my truck there, and take off and watch the sunrise from like 8,000 feet. It was just gorgeous.
Now here's a question for you. Can you attach belt-fed machine guns to it, guerrillas and guerrillas?
So there's pods that go under the wing, and I always want to put the baggage pods under the wing and make them look like rocket launchers. Paint the nose of it.
Okay, now what makes an airplane an experimental airplane?
Okay, so it's good question. It's not certificated, meaning that there is no company that builds them. This was built by a guy in Melbourne, Florida.
So you're just flying some plane that some random dude built in his garage.
Okay, so my rule for buying an experimental airplane is buy one that has like several hundred hours on it. This had 400 hours on it when I bought it.
So it's not going to fall out of the sky like a brick.
Yeah, it's been through a lot of different situations, and he probably worked a lot of the gremlins out of it.
Swamp Dog Armory wants to know if you ever thought about supercharging
it. So here's what I know about aviation. A lot of guys. So the most expensive component on a home-built aircraft is typically the engine, and a lot of people try alternate power plants. There's no worse combination. I'd get a lot of hate mail from the EAA community. There is no worse combination in the world than having an experimental airplane and an experimental power plant. You want to bolt as stock an engine on in as stock a configuration as possible onto an airplane. You do not want an experimental engine on an experimental plane.
Oh, come on, are you chicken?
Hell yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, there are some things I won't do.
All right. That sounds pretty cool. I like the way it looks, man.
Oh yeah, it's like an F-16. You have a side stick. You're raked back about 60 degrees in the seat, bubble canopy. On a hot day, you got to put something up. Like I have suction cup. Like how you put on a car to keep the sun off the baby or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I got the suction cup shade to put up there, so I don't roast. So the problem with airplanes is you need both like heat and air conditioning. Typically, you don't need air conditioning for very long. Friend of mine with a similar plane, he built an air conditioner out of a cooler. So you just put ice in a cooler with a water and a pump and a blower fan. Because on the ground, so the worst case in this aircraft is if you taxi and it's hot. Let's just say it's summer in Florida. You taxi with the canopy open. It hinges on the right side, and before you take off, you lock it down and you take off. But if it's raining and it's hot out, that you're cooking. You're dying until you get the plane rolling. So that's real bad. Now you lose 3.5 degrees per 1,000 feet. So let's just say you go up to 10,000 feet. It's 35 degrees cooler. So if it was 90 degrees on the ground, it's now 55 degrees at 10,000 feet. So in the same day, you could need both air, or in the same 10 minutes, you could need both air conditioning and heat.
Very interesting.
And my plane has neither. It's just got some vents.
Are you going to put any of those in?
Yeah, I do plan on putting heat in the plane. I got all the parts, just haven't done it yet. But I would fly with like an electric motorcycle vest. I made up some, heating elements that I could put in my shoes because my toes get cold.
Okay, here's a question for you, Rich. Would you take one of those drone taxis they were talking about?
Drone taxi? All right, so when I started flying private, like in other people's planes, and I'm not talking anything exotic, I'm talking like 2-seaters, that kind of stuff, 2-seaters, 4-seaters. I used to get kind of weird because I was not that I was a pilot at the time, but I would have all of the controls in front of me, and worst case scenario, I could actually fly a plane, And the idea of being in the back with another 100 or so or 200 people, and none of them, who is the pilot? Did he have a good day? You kind of go through those thoughts, and it's a little weird. So worse yet, I guess something where you have no control whatsoever, and it's going to pick you up and fly you somewhere, and you're totally dependent on the cheapest software developer in the world that they hired on Fiverr or something like that to write the flight controls.
Yeah. By the way, have you seen this? Let's see if I can get it in here.
You got to watch a commercial first.
There's no commercial. This is what I wanted to show you. It's from Ring.
Yeah, is it?
For the people who can't see it, it's a video. I'll describe the video as we go along. But check this out. Can you hear it at least?
No.
Okay, I have to turn on.
Oh,
it's
no
a security
way.
drone.
Really?
So it hears people, then it goes finds them.
Oh, very cool. All right, so now that's the question. Can you arm that? Like at least with maybe 1-ounce bottle rockets?
That would be awesome.
And it auto docks?
Is that the coolest thing in the world?
Dude, all right. It can navigate around the chandeliers?
Yeah, it will.
That's freaking awesome.
So you can like do it so if you're out of town, you can put it so it will patrol every once in a while, or you can just put it so it will respond to noises.
That's freaking nuts. That is brilliant cool. All right, so John, you did software development, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so one of the things I'm embarrassed at as a techie pilot software developer is there's Victor Airways. And it used to be when you plotted a course, you had to put every point, like every VOR would be a waypoint on a Victor Airway. So you'd enter at particular VOR, then you'd fly VOR, 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 and then you'd finally maybe exit that Victor airway and go in another direction to another airway or another airport or something like that. I was so embarrassed when I saw this that Garmin came out with it. They had a new flight planning tool. I think it was their 600 series GPS. So you would say join Victor airway at this point, and then there was a drop down for the exit. I'm like, I can't believe I never thought of that. I'm like, that was like, if I patented that idea, that's a brilliant idea. And I can't believe as a developer, I never thought of that, because there's always an entrance. You specify the entrance to the Victor airway and you specify the exit, and then it fills in all the points.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I would fly a Victor airway from Monroe, Louisiana to Palm Beach, and I would not cut the corner, or I wouldn't cut the corner and go over the Gulf, because I did that once, scared the heck out of me. And what I found later on is when you file an IFR flight plan, that's Instrument Flight Rules flight plan, it was always better to use the bare minimum amount of points, because they would always change, even though they would confirm your flight plan. And before you take off, they'd verify that this was the flight plan you were approved for. Once you got in the air, they change you. So like, that's it. I'm doing 1 point next to the airport. I'm doing 1 point like at Perry Foley, Florida, where I'm hitting the corner. And then I'm doing a point because I land at Fox 45. I'm pointing actually to where the airport is. Actually, it's that way. 1 point before, it's Pahokee, right before Fox 45. And this way, if they asked me to change something, it wasn't a big deal.
So it's like a turn. It's like a turn by turn GPS for a plane. Welcome to Plane Talk on the Gun Network.
So, you can do area navigation with a GPS, but traditionally it's been by VOR, and a VOR is a radio beacon, and it gives out 360 radials. So you could fly precisely down like the 270 degree beam to a VOR. So this way you're not S-turning through the course. They say VORs are going away because of the advent of GPS, but an EMP, naturally or not naturally occurring, could take out our GPS satellites and really screw us. Same thing about ILS systems, so the instrument landing systems that give you a glide slope and center line. They are talking about them going away because a lot of the instrument approaches now are what they call RNAV, which is a GPS approach to a runway. And there is no ground-based equipment. It's just they did surveying and they published an approach based on GPS data.
VA Wolf gave us a couple dollars. That's why you heard the Wolverine. I don't know. Did you hear the Wolverines?
I didn't hear the Wolverine.
Let me try it again. You don't hear it?
No. $2.23. I wonder why that number. Maybe if we're good, he'll give us $5.56 later.
Yeah. We're trying to work him up to the 556.
So I heard Swamp Dog Armory is going to be at Iraq Veteran.
That's what I heard. Day. I think he's going to be repping the Black Swan Media.
Oh yeah,
I heard I'm going to be there too.
I got a custom T-shirt that I did for the range day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So it says Iraq Veteran, IV-888, and it was like, I think it's 2018 there was fire, 2019 there was mud, 2020 there was the coronavirus, 2021 ?
Oh, nice. That is very, very nice. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just wish I knew where the damn Wolverine sound was. I've been playing that for like a month, and like no one told me that there's no sound anymore.
And Shooting Gallery New England. I'm finally gonna. It's funny. Shooting Gallery New England and I were gonna hook up a couple of times, and that all got canceled 2020. And for some reason, I thought I would meet you at Iraq Veteran for the first time, and Shooting Gallery New England there. But since we hooked up in Long Island, did I say Long Island?
We didn't hook up in Long Island.
Whatever you say, John.
We went out to before someone freaking captures that, and all of a sudden, video again. There's so many people want me taken down. They're gonna use that against me, Rich.
Oh, look, if you're on the show with me, that's enough to take you down.
Yeah, people think I'm gonna go get them or something. I don't know.
I'm waiting for to get blacklisted out of the 2A community because I spoke my mind.
Who cares? I mean, that's what I would say. They try to blacklist Carrie, and I still have her on the show.
Yeah. You know what? I think there's people that, don't get me wrong. I want my videos to get views. But I don't want it. I don't want to make it happen. I want it to happen organically. I want to be able to create media that people consume and enjoy. And, I don't want to make a contrived stink about something to escalate myself. I think that's kind of the worst way to go.
Yeah.
If people do it, good for you.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But at the same time, it's pretty scummy, I think.
Yes, and that's what I think. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm not the hardest working person in the 2A world. I got a whole bunch of things going on that I'm interested in. I'm reading VA Wolf. He's like, "What did you say?"
Yeah, I mean, I do this because I believe in it, and I like doing it. But I don't have to do this.
This has all been fun to me, and I'm having a good time with it. The truth of the matter is, let's just say you paid yourself $10 an hour. For all of the money that I've made, whether it's from YouTube or Amazon affiliate marketing, I'm going broke.
I gotta
not
use Amazon affiliate marketing. I gotta get on that.
I mean, I'm not making $10 an hour for the amount of effort that I put into this stuff. So, but I'm having a good time. Look, I'm meeting people like you. I'm meeting people like Hank and Patrick and Walter, and going to cool shoots and doing some fun things that I like, shooting machine guns, like stuff getting free T-shirts from vendors, that kind of stuff. So I'm having a good time.
In the mail right before I got here, by the way.
What do you got?
Freedom mags.
Freedom. That looks like P mags. Are they Gen 2, Gen 3? What do you got?
Gen 2.
So, what is the cool? Oh, can we talk about 3D printing firearms?
Absolutely. I don't care.
What is the coolest gun you've 3D printed?
High Point. Just joking. Let me think. I mean, probably. I mean, I've done Glocks, of course. I did an AR out of different types, and we did mag dumps until it melted.
Oh, really? You melted? You printed with PLA, PETG? What'd you print it with?
Well, PETG holds up better. I wanted to see what happens if you print with PLA and you just do mag dump after mag dump. And after about 2 mag dumps with PLA, it was done.
Yeah. So I printed an AR9, and I kind of did a mashup of 2 designs, so I kind of have my own design out there. That's probably cool. But I saw a CZ Scorpion, and I was kind of thinking about printing that, but then I'm reading up on all the parts, and I didn't go out, and I'm like, a 3D printed CZ Scorpion is probably going to be twice as much as buying a CZ Scorpion.
Well, check out JSD Supply. Keep an eye on them.
Uh-huh.
They're coming out with a kit where you 3D print the parts and everything else is included in a kit.
Okay, right. Is like a CZ Scorpion one of those items? You can't
Well,
say yet. You can
well,
tell me
no,
when
I
we're
can
off the
say
air.
it has everything you need to do. It's basically a 80% 3D CZ Scorpion.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. How cool is that? Any idea on the price?
I don't know the price quite yet. I know they've been waiting for 2 years to get approval from the ATF, and I think you might sue over it.
I just think that's brilliant. It's like, hey, here's all the hard parts you need, and here's the STL file. Go print it. Have a great day.
That's basically what they're doing.
Nice. Brilliant. Smart move.
Yeah.
And you print your magazine too.
You can print a magazine. I have printed magazines, and they've held up pretty well. I have an AR, some upper parts for an AR if you want them. I don't have the funds from the wife to build another AR-10. I have a very nice AR-10.
You know, Hank was saying he was talking about people not getting loans, and I'm like, I'm not eligible for a loan. I tried to get a home equity line of credit. My credit score is too low, and
Not
it
really.
tanked because the tenant on my house moved out in New York, and I ran up a whole bunch of bills on my credit cards for the home improvement for the parts and stuff. And all of a sudden, my credit rating went. So if I
Yeah.
took the home equity loan beforehand and then spent the money, I'd be okay.
Yeah, that's the way they want it. They want it done. They want it. Yeah. I have an LLC, right? That I do put all my money into for my writing and everything else. Then I disperse it to different charities and different stuff like that. Although I do want to take some money, and get these mics that's gonna help me on when I do like remote shooting, remote live streaming, when I
Uh-huh.
broadcast like other events like I've done in the past. These mics will help me out doing it. They're about $300. So I might take some money out and do that. But here's the thing. Why the hell was I going with that? Oh,
You talking
I
about loans?
yeah, I got on the yeah. So I had a company call me up. They like do business loans out of the blue, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna give you a business loan for your business." It's like, I don't need a business loan. Well, think about what you can do with the capital. Nothing. Nothing. All my writing and my video revenue
Right.
and my
Laptop, here I
Patreon
travel.
and all that goes into there, and then I disperse that to like different organizations and charities and whatnot because that's just what I do with the money, right? I don't really pay myself a salary or anything. I just, pass it on. Although I am gonna break that promise and get those mics probably. Just helping out in the live stream. I usually pay out of pocket for everything, but my wife says no, you got to use that money if you want those mics. But so I was arguing with this guy. I was like, dude, I don't need any money. I was like, I don't even know what I would freaking use the money for. And he's like, oh, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, it's like, do you know what my business is? It's like, if I need a piece of equipment, I got like people to buy it for me. Like this mic. This mic is a freaking, you know what this mic is, right?
No, I'm not sure. Is that like an Ari or?
No, it's a Shure SM7B, which is like the gold. It's like the Ferrari of mics.
I'm like a SM57 guy, unfortunately.
This thing is it's pretty expensive, but Amaland bought it for me.
Nice.
I got a board here by Cams, everything. So I really don't need the money from this loan company, but this dude was just insisting that I take the loan and find something to do some
But
money on
usually
it.
they
I'm like,
want you to take out a lot of money for a business loan.
yeah, it was like $50,000. It's like, so you want me to take $50,000, that I don't need and pay interest on it for money I don't need.
Yep.
Like, you're smoking crack, dude. He's like, think you can use that money to make other money. He's like, no, I can't. Like, you
Yeah,
have
it's
no
not
idea.
gonna
It's
work
not
that
like
way.
I'm selling a product. It's not like I go buy
Right. You don't
product.
need to buy inventory. You don't need equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I have Black Swan Tactical. If you go to blackswantactical.com and use code Crumpy for 10% off. Code Crumpy for 10% off. blackswantactical.com that has the
Oh,
t-shirts and everything else.
hey,
But
click in the link, the comments there. I threw up my Teespring store. So if you want any of the designs for Black Swan Tactical, I'll just send you the art.
yeah, let me take a look at that. Teespring rips you off, man.
Yeah, they do.
Go with me. Cheaper. It could be most of the money. I help out like smaller creators. Like Gorillas and Guns, who actually donates all his profits to charity. Also, because he was on Teespring too. And some of the designs he didn't like because you couldn't do certain things, but
I don't want to make any money. I hate to say it. I don't want to make any money on Teespring.
yeah,
It's not about the money. It's just about the fun.
yeah. Well, I mean, like anything I make on Black Swan Tactical goes to like charity anyway.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, and Black Swan Tactical did buy. Actually, that was out of my own pocket. Gorillas and Guns. Gorillas and Guns. He what? He
So
does
the Grills and Guns
I don't know
shoe,
what
that
the
doesn't
hell.
have real gorilla blood in it, does it?
No. It
There's
has
no
my
gorilla
blood
blood
in
in it.
it.
Okay.
No, but I have a company that will make all that shit like locally, like not locally, but in America.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like I don't know. I must be typing something wrong here, but I'm not. I'm trying to bring up the Teespring, but it's not coming up. What the hell? All right, here it goes. No, something's going on with your pit flying ring. Thinking to that drone too much. No, but like the company I use, they're out of North Carolina, and I send. They have all the designs, and it goes out the same day,
Oh, wow.
or maybe the next day.
That's cool.
But yeah, Gorillas and Gun host the Virginia Reloaded podcast, and his mic was trash, like absolutely trash. And I can tell him it was trash because we got him a new mic.
Nice.
So now he has a blue snowball.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I have a Yeti somewhere in New York, I think.
Yeah, I have a Yeti Blue, and I have a blue snowball that I use to travel with. But yeah, these are nice. I can do any of these, dude.
Alrighty. Yeah,
For
so I'll
cheaper.
send you the designs. So that earlier on, I was talking about the Iraq veteran shirt. So that was the fire, mud, virus, and who knows. So
Yeah,
that's the backside of the shirt.
I didn't go last year. I can't remember. Something happened that.
Well, there was 2020. There was none. So the last one you could have
2020
gone
was
to
canceled. The year before that,
2019.
2019, I was supposed to go, but then something happened last minute. In 2018, something happened last minute.
Yeah. So this year it's going to be at the same range that it was in 2018.
So we're all going to be hanging out down there, man.
Which is like a 9-hour ride. And latest word from the Strange Familia is they're likely to go.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's what I heard. I want to hang out with Hank. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with Cody. I want to hang out with all you guys. And the best part about it is, thanks to GOA, I'm not going to Black Swan Media. I'm going to GOA so I can go for free. Which
cool.
means like they'll pay for my flight and, and lodging.
Fly,
I just have to
you're
work the
gonna
GOA
fly.
table.
You're not going to
What?
drive for 9 hours?
Dude, I'm in freaking Northern Virginia, dude.
Oh, it is that far?
It's about 12 hours.
So I'm going to be taking the Envoy. I'm going to be riding with like 2 other guys, maybe 3 guys, up there. And I really wish I could take my wife's car because it self-drives.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And so I've been enjoying that.
Well, also, why the hell would I drive if someone's willing to pay for my plane ticket?
Oh, dude, I'm in. Wait,
Yeah,
can I
they
rep
asked me.
GOA? Who's
Yeah,
this guy repping GOA in Florida? How come it's not me?
Luis? Luis is like a
He's doing a better
bulldog
job
when
than
it
I would.
comes. He's freaking doing. I mean, I'm telling you, he's doing a bang up job, man.
Good for him.
I mean, he's doing a bang up job. So, what do you think about Nikki Fried running for governor? News drop. No one knows that yet.
News. Oh, wait. This was something I knew, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
You're telling me.
But yeah, she's getting ready to announce.
So, look, Andrew Gillum. All right, Florida. You got to know a couple of things about Florida. First off, your CCW permit comes from the Department of Agriculture, and Nikki Fried got elected to the Department of Agriculture. So when Corona came out, she put a stop on processing CCW permits because of manpower, blah blah blah, whatever. The left is happy at any moment, and for no good reason whatsoever, to deny you your rights, especially your Second Amendment rights. And the other stink about Nikki Fried was the gas pumps are certified by the Department of Agriculture. It just used to be like a sticker with a date and like a punch spot for like what month, what year it expires or something like that. Well, she did the stickers with her face on it. So that was a whole dust up. And
how narcissistic do you have to be to do that? That's insanely narcissistic.
Yes. Oh yeah. And and it said Nikki, N-I-C-K, quote, N-I-K-I, Fried. It wasn't even professional. It was like, yo, dog, I'm Nikki Fried. It's like, really? That's so. Then the other thing, when Rush Limbaugh passed, DeSantis ordered all the flags at half-mast. She directed the Department of Agriculture and their buildings not to. So in West Palm Beach, they're all commies in West Palm Beach, and they did the same. So it's we all knew that Nikki Fried was like a Soros plant to f with our Second Amendment rights in I was going to say California, in Florida, and that Nikki was going to be looking to go for governor. Now, look, I would hate to go up against DeSantis. He's a rock star. He's killing it. Did
he really tell Biden to F off?
Yes. And one like that, I think that was the one week he told the reporters, "Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining." And I think a few days later he told Biden, "Go F himself." He's plain spoken. I've seen a lot of people like Dan Bongino is one of the people I respect, fellow New Yorker. That they're just plain spoken. They don't use all of these flowery words like somebody that writes a treatise that we all should come together and doesn't use one fact or metric at all in his whole thesis.
That sounds familiar.
I had in college, I had an English professor. He says, "Don't use a $5 word when a 5-cent word will do." And again, I think I've got a pretty damn large vocabulary. There were no stumpers in Pincus's thesis, but I was like, "Why would you talk like that? I don't talk like that."
You don't. Here's the thing. I could use a mass of words. I have a really, really big vocabulary. We know I can't get the words out a lot, but that's my autism speaking. But I do have a really big vocabulary when I write. I could use a lot of words, big words, but I don't, because I want to be able to connect with the most people possible. When people, I'm not saying Pincus did this, but when people usually use big words when they write stuff, it's to try to get this air of superiority so you can't question them because they're educated because they're using these big words.
Right. And maybe you don't know the definitions of all the big words either, so you don't want to ask so you don't look stupid.
Yeah, it's so you do that. It's a technique that they teach in writing.
I was just shocked with all the $5 words in that.
Well, the $5 words. I will say, I don't know if he did this or Dan Gross did it, but there was a lot of stuff. If you watch Ben Shapiro talking about debating, he talks about saying we all agree,
Yes.
we all, because that makes you give up ground unknowingly. So then you can almost never win a debate if you give into those tactics.
Yes,
And
yes.
in that article, there's a lot of that.
And that's at the beginning of the show. I was watching your premiere of that Pincus interview, and Pincus like, well, we could all agree drunk people shouldn't have guns. It's like you're not defending your point there. And what I find interesting is a liberal is always certain that they're the best mastermind to dictate who has rights and who does not have rights. And as far as I'm concerned, Pincus is the biggest liberal out there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that. Like I said, I want people to judge for themselves.
Mhm.
People are like, why aren't you really weighing in on this? I'm like, because I want people to judge for themselves.
Well,
I have
I
a
think
very, very strong opinion on the whole thing, but it's my job as a reporter to report the facts. I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want to tell people what to think. There's too many. In my article I wrote, when I kind of went through, I said, hey, look, these are my stances, just because my bias might come through, but I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want to tell you what to think. There's too many people out there that was doing that, especially with the whole Pincus situation. There's too many people out there saying, giving opinions, and a lot of them were good opinions. Some were not good opinions. Some were dumb opinions, and some were good opinions. So I'm like, I could write another opinion piece, or I can just put out the facts and let people decide for themselves, which I think most people should do. And I don't think that's done enough. I don't think enough people let people decide for themselves. There's not enough real journalists out there, and
I agree.
There's too many opinion people. Like, I love Tucker Carlson, but he's not a journalist. He's he gives opinion. Same with Bill Maher.
Yeah, anybody on Fox, the primetime lineup, 8 to 11 p.m., is not a journalist.
They're entertainers.
I guess
same
it's kinda,
on MSNBC, and Don Lemon on CNN. Same thing.
And the interesting thing that you have to realize, I kind of learned this early on watching the news. The news isn't about news. The news is about selling commercial space. So they got to get viewers, and they get viewership, or they there's different hooks. So in the news media, they always ran the weather last because that's what you wanted to know the most. So you had to watch the whole stinking show to find the weather. With the internet, we don't need that anymore.
No.
Likewise, in the supermarket, the eggs and dairy are diagonally away from the front door that you just walked through. So you have to walk through the entire store to get to the eggs and dairy that you need.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Getting back to the opinion piece, right? It can be dangerous if people come out as a journalist and then, give opinions or give personal statements. I'll use a great example.
Right.
Walter Cronkite, awesome journalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're not sure if the Vietnam War could be won. He said that, and that basically turned the country against the Vietnam War.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't realize, this is after the Tet Offensive. What a lot of people don't realize, the Tet Offensive was a colossal cluster F for the Viet Cong. It was they got their asses handed to them. It was a major defeat. If you read the military history and stuff, But Walter Cronkite said, after this, I don't think the war could be won. So he turned a major defeat into a major victory for the Viet Cong, because people we trust him. So it got lost, and I think that's a real danger that can still happen.
Well, and it's kind of the interesting thing, the victors write the history books. I often wonder how history, case. Right. But I often wonder how history is going to portray Donald Trump, because my in-laws will have a fantastic argument over him. They are your standard New York lefties, and we have my wife is the Jehovah Witness of conservatism, so she has my family's conservative, but her family is not, so she has a big problem with it. So she would not be a good journalist.
Well, sometimes you have to pick your I'm conservative. I don't think that's any secret, and I don't try to hide that. But when I do try to, I always, people know what I think of the ATF and everything else. ATF I will bash. I kind of been my rule there. But for stories, people know where I'm coming from. But also I try to keep it out as much as possible. It's not totally possible, but I let people know, hey, this is where I stand personally, but I'm going to try to give you the facts.
I thought you were very fair with Pincus. If I interviewed Pincus, which I don't do an interview show, or if some other 2A person did it, I don't think they would be as fair.
Well, you have to. I mean, you have to let people decide for themselves. I mean, it wasn't meant to be a debate. It was meant. These are the questions that the 2A community has.
Good way to frame it and think about it.
There's a difference in a debate and an interview, and I think sometimes that gets lost on people.
You're right. You're 100% right.
What's really funny is people that like Pincus didn't like the interview, and people that hate Pincus didn't like the interview. You're both like, oh, he tried to set you up with trap questions, and then the people who don't like Pincus like, oh, you let him off too easy. I'm like, it's okay. So did I ask him trap questions to make him look bad, or did I let him off too easy? I was like, what the hell? And you know what? When you see that, he's like, okay, well, my interview hit the mark, because
you're right about that. I think it was a fair interview, and like I said, it would be a lot more fair than if I did it.
Yeah, and since both sides think I didn't attack them enough, or I attacked them too much, that usually means that you're right in the middle where you should be.
I thought it was very reasonable.
Oh, that's good. VOF says, you are good at being open and upfront, even saying I don't want to put words in your mouth. Thank you very much. Space Texan says, who was that journalist who got all the soldiers killed by reporting their location? That actually happened multiple times.
Yeah, Geraldo did that.
Yeah, that was the.
I don't know if anybody got killed because of it.
None of that one, but in Vietnam they did.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, CNN got a freaking stealth fighter shot down during the Balkans War.
That was the one that got shot down and the Chinese got?
No, that was you're talking about the helicopter I'm talking about.
No, that was the raid on the Bin Laden campaign.
Yeah, that was the one that got shot down because they could time it, because they were watching CNN and they knew when it was going to be overhead because they watched it take off.
Oh God. Yeah, so a window based on an ETA and flight speed, yes.
Well, that's how they shot it down.
Dang.
You didn't know that? You're a pilot.
No, I didn't know how it happened. That's the Magic BB theory.
Yeah, well, they didn't know. They couldn't detect on a radar, but they knew. Yeah, well, it's going to be overhead because it's taking off right now, so we know.
So you can make a good guess at altitude.
And that's what they did.
And if you got an idea of what the targets might be and the timing of when it's going to, realistically, war is a game of attrition, which isn't anything new, but it's one of these things. Like if we have a Patriot missile and the Patriot missile costs 10 times the amount of a mortar coming in, and they can fire a mortar every 10 minutes, we're eventually going to run out of money.
Well, not the United States versus,
But it is a war of financial attrition, basically.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's how the Cold War was won.
Exactly.
Reagan, they went to him and said, "Okay, the Russians want to." You probably heard this story. They came up to him and they said the Russians want to, have this arms treaty and reduce arms and stop building nuclear weapons. Reagan looked at him and goes, "Increase the amount that we're making." And they're like, "What are you doing? You're trying to take us into a war." He's like, "No," and he was right. He said,
he was absolutely right.
If they're coming and saying, "Hey, we need to slow down," that means that they want to slow down for a reason. That means they don't have money to make more. So we can drive them. We can drive them bankrupt because we can produce more. We have the means to produce more. We have the funds to produce more. So let's go ahead and drive them out of existence. And that's basically what he did.
And the other story on that was STI, which has been known as Star Wars.
Yeah, he knew it didn't work. The Russians didn't know that it didn't work, so they were spending all this money on Star Wars, and they were causing them to spend all this money to defeat Star Wars, and it was money they didn't have. And basically, they knew they would never get to the goal, but they also knew that the Soviets couldn't keep up with the spending.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of good history books on the Cold War that talks about that. How the United States did a lot of stuff just to get the Soviets to spend money. They're like, we're going to dump all this money in this program that doesn't work. And we know it doesn't work, but they don't know it doesn't work. And they're going to have to build to counteract it.
Well, my other favorite thing is the Soviets copy a lot of things, and also the Chinese do this. And so they got leaked plans of the Concorde, but I guess it was a joint operation. I don't know if it was MI6 only, but they leaked flawed plans of the Concorde. So in aviation, there's a problem. Wings, control surface, you can have flutter, and there's a couple of different forms of flutter. There's like an out of balance flutter. There's an aerodynamic flutter. So basically, the plans that they leaked of the Concorde to the Russians, as the plane went transonic, it would rip itself apart. So the first couple of Russian Concordes tore themselves apart and fell out of the sky.
Nice. My favorite Cold War story is when they were having meetings, the U.S. military and the Soviet military, and the navies were meeting, and the Soviet guy said, "Let's be honest, we need to reduce the amount of subs because you don't know where our subs are, and we don't know where your subs are. So, how are we going to verify that we're reducing the numbers?" Because the Soviets didn't want to reduce numbers, and the U.S. military said, "Okay, well, let's talk about it tomorrow." So they broke for the day, and they're like, "We know where all the subs are, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we have tracking subs on every one of their subs out there." So they told Reagan that. So Reagan thought about it, and Reagan said, at 12:01, a Greenwich Mean Time, send a ping. And at the time, the Soviets, if they had any contact, they would have to report back. And sending a ping is, you just do a sonar burst and it bounces off. So it is considered a contact. So at 12:01, every Soviet sub got pinged. So they're all calling back saying, we got ping. And the next day, the Soviets came back and they're like, okay, yeah, we're ready to sign that treaty. But the thing is, the Soviets didn't know that our military not only knew where their subs were, but were actively tracking the subs.
Right.
And at the time, the U.S. thought they must know that that there's a sub on each one of their subs, and they probably have subs on our subs. But apparently they didn't know that.
Well, if you remember in the Hunt for Red October, that's why every 30 minutes he did a Crazy Ivan.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. That's my favorite story because, if that broke the stalemate, and I can imagine all of a sudden every single sub in your fleet reports having a contact, which means at the time, if the U.S. wanted to, they could have sank every one of their subs at the same time. So basically, they brought them to the table. They're like, okay, yeah, never mind. But they were so emphatic that we had no idea what their subs were.
I guess we're that good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're still that good.
Yeah. And one other thing, the only Russian captain with a Scottish accent. Scottish. One other thing we know that Mr. Rich here isn't Shannon Watts. Mrs. Watts couldn't make the show today. I can't believe how many people believe that.
Oh, I woke up and I was prepared for April 1st. And I was like, just remember, April 1st. And I'm like, John was pretty level-headed with Pincus. I'm like, he's going to have Shannon Watts on Moms Demand Action. I'm like, is this the same group? I actually Googled Moms Demand Action. I'm like, yeah, it is the same group. I think it is. I didn't get the names wrong.
So many people didn't get it. So many people were like, oh this is going to be awesome. Argo J got it. Argo J is like, not getting me.
Yeah. So last year, I posted that I'm switching from firearms to gardening.
Did that work?
I posted a video. I don't think a lot of people got it.
No. All right, man. Well, we've been on for over an hour. I want to get going to get some dinner before I get the kids to bed. I just want to let everyone know. I'll give you the final word, Rich, in 1 second, but I want to let everyone know next week I am taking off. The last show of the week for Fireside Chats is this one right here with Mr. Flying Rich. On Saturday night, we will be doing Virginia Reloaded with my co-host, the Silverback, the Manila Gorilla himself, Scott Ayers from Gorillas and Guns. We're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. Also, when you get back, we're going to have Don Man again. Hopefully, he'll bring his buddy Randy Couture. They have a new show out. That will be Monday. Don Man and Randy Couture's new show is going to be cool. It's gonna Don Man is the most amazing guy I've ever met. You know who Don Man is?
No, I don't.
Wrote a bunch of articles. Really cool guy. This is a SEAL Team, one of the founders of SEAL Team 6.
Oh wow.
Climbed Everest. Climbed K2. Used to do endurance races where he would run like through the Amazon, like 1,000 miles.
Oh jeez.
Extreme racing it was called, or they were raced like through like the Andes or the Rockies. Like not like really any supplies, just like, okay, this place is like 500 miles away. You got to get there. And they'll go running off into the mountains or whatever.
That's nuts.
Yeah. He has he served under Richard Marchenko.
Yeah, another one don't know.
He used to climb, that movie, not Into the Wild. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, dude, he knows all those guys, written a lot of books. So he was going to be on Monday. We have, cool. Michael, who from MSJ Firearms, who was out actually in a shootout in Chicago. They had a mistaken identity, and they thought he was Latin Kings thought he was some other dude, and they started shooting at him. So he took him out,
Oh,
So he used the firearms to take down some Latin King members who tried to kill him because they thought he was some other dude.
ouch.
We have also, didn't you say you had bad Senate news earlier this week? I do. Let me just say, mention to me like, okay, but HR 8 is gonna be dead. But mention to me like, just remember that. Let's see who else we have. Glenn Fleming from Drive Tanks.
Oh, cool.
And I can't remember. I got one more guest. I don't know. Maybe it might be Carrie. I don't know. I gotta look. But that's all when I come back. So we got a full week already scheduled for when I come back. So that's gonna be really, really cool. And with that, tune in Saturday night for the Virginia Reloaded podcast, brought to you by Gun Owners of America. Actually, the full title is Virginia Reloaded, a Gun Owners of America podcast, but that's too long. The audio only version will be up. So, yeah. Tomorrow or tonight. I don't know. Whatever. Rich, probably tomorrow. Do you have anything to say before we go? You have the final word. Oh, yeah. By the way, check out my Patreon at patreon.com/John Crump. Join GOA at gunowners.org/black-swan-media. You get 25% off. Go to crumpy.com. Follow me on Instagram. Yeah, just go to crumpy.com. Everything there. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Rich for the final word.
You know, my dad used to drive M4 Shermans.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, in the National Guard. Hey, just follow me on Instagram. So it's flyingrich_official. YouTube is youtube.com/flyingrich. And of course, there's flyingrich.com that links to all this stuff.
All right, Rich. With that said, we are out of here. Stay safe, stay ever vigilant, and keep in the fight. And we are gone, people. Thank you so much.